Alright guys, so anyway, and gals, here is the kit that I ordered for the transmission, and it'll go back in this Dart, the one I'm overhauling in my series. And I wanted to talk about this especially because I did not know anything about ordering kits and buying a kit for an overhaul before this, so I had no idea what to buy. I know what I needed, but I didn't know, how to choose the type of kit and what's in it and things like that. So I'll show you what I ended up going with, and I'll tell you why I did. Like I said, this is a 904 that we're working on. It's similar but downsized compared to a 727. And they don't use the same kit, but you can get the same types of kits for them. And what a kit is this assortment of parts that you need to refresh the transmission when you're overhauling it. And normally they come with all the seals, all the gaskets, they come with some bushings, they come with steels, and they come with the clutches. And also these also come with a front band, which I'll show you in a minute. But the thing to remember on these is that they don't all come with steels, and I'm not even sure some of them come with friction. So you got to be careful when you order a kit. Make sure you're getting, if you're wanting to replace the steels, and I suggest you do, is make sure that you get a kit with frictions and steels, because there's a noticeable difference in the price between the kits that have the steels and the ones that don't. So be very careful when you order a kit for these. Be very careful, read what's in them very thoroughly. So what I ended up buying was, I ended up just buying a standard overhaul kit that has the steels with it. It's got, I believe these are either Borg-Warner or Ray Besto's clutches, and that was a subject that I had considerable. I was considerably undereducated about clutches and transmissions, and my first thought was, I thought, well, I want this transmission to be tough, durable. I want it to hold up. I don't want to have to do this again. So my first thought was, well, you see all these kits have got the racing clutches in them and the steels. One of them that's well known is the Red Alto clutches. It's a brand name of them. And the Red Alto clutches and the choline steels. So I thought, man, that sounds great. That's just what I need, because I want this thing to grab gears and not slip, not do anything wrong. But I got researching that, and people advised against using those kind of clutches and steels in a stock or mostly stock application, because that the deal with those clutches is they're thinner, because they intend for you to pack more clutches into the clutch itself, more clutch plates, if that makes sense. Your clutch, front clutch, rear clutch is just basically an assembly of clutches and steels. That's what makes up a clutch. So when you hear somebody talk about the front clutch, that's what they're talking about, the clutch pack. So I thought about that. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that on this transmission. I'm not going to worry about trying to pack in more clutches and steels, because that's what you do for a race application. And the general consensus is that they're good for what they are, for what they're designed to do, which is pack more clutches in the clutch pack. But as far as just like everyday driving, that the thing you need to remember is, and pay close attention to this, is that these thinner clutches they're thinner, so they do not absorb heat well. They tend to warp if you overheat them. So I guess what I'm saying is, if I'm making any sense, is that they're stronger, but they're not stronger. They're stronger, but they're not as durable. So you want thick clutches, like the stock clutches. They got a lot of material on them. They can take more ongoing abuse, and I hope that makes sense. So anyway, once I realized that and started to understand what they were talking about, that I knew I didn't want to try to pack any more clutch plates in the clutch pack. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to deal with the racing clutches. All I wanted to look at then is I just turned my attention to looking for a standard 904 kit that had everything in it that I needed. So I got on eBay, and really just about any supplier of these kits uses mostly the same parts in them. So I'm going to show you what I ended up with. I ended up with this kit, which is from Portland Tranny, but if you look, wow, what a name, eh? If you look on the internet, this company's actual name, what they go by on there, is Oregon Transmission, Oregon Performance Transmission or something like that. But anyway, just search that, you'll find them. And they have, seems like they have a lot of good feedback and things like that on these kits. And what this is, this says this is a TF6 rebuild kit without steels, and I got this here to the house, and I looked at that and I said, uh-oh. I said, I made sure I ordered a kit with steels in it. I don't know why this is saying without steels. So I thought I was screwed on this. But as it turned out, it's fine. It has the steels in it. I don't know why this label says that. But here's something to point out to you also. You see this is TF6. Now that may confuse you. You say, well, what's that mean? Torque Flight 6? This is in a V8. Well, they call the 904 was originally called the Torque Flight 6. Despite what it went behind, it's called Torque Flight 6. The 727 was called the Torque Flight 8. So don't let this confuse you. So here it is, and there's your part number. I hope that's the right part number. But you open this guy up, I already took some of the padding on it. First thing you're going to see, it says stop. If you're not certain you will use this kit, please do not open this gasket set. If you open this gasket set, the kit cannot be returned. If you're unsure this fits your vehicle, email us at sales@SOP. Yeah, it's Oregon Performance Transmission Sales. We'll be happy to help you identify your transmission. Well, you should already know that. If you're ordering a kit, you need to know what transmission. And just some guidelines about what you can and can't return and how you do it. And so, invoice. Let's see, this kit cost, let's see, my total cost on this, there's no shipping, it's free shipping, was $119.95. Okay, first thing you're going to see is a Trans-Tech. This is a gasket kit. It's got different parts in it. We're going to turn it over. But look on the front, it says 1973 through 1998. Now, I noticed when I was looking at kits that it had a cutoff at 1972. There was like 1972 and later, and 1971 and below on these 904s. So make very sure when you're buying a kit that you know exactly what your transmission that is. When I pulled that transmission out, I showed you the numbers, how I decoded it to make sure I knew what year it was. It's the original 73 transmission to this car. So those transmissions have a part number on them. They have the partial VIN. They have a numbering system on there that corresponds with Mopar's 10,000 day calendar. So you have 3 ways to figure out what transmission case you have in your hand. So there's no reason for you to screw that up. None. So make sure you know when you're ordering a kit, whether it's a 72 or later or a 71 and earlier. So you turn this guy over, and it's got a sealing ring kit, which has got your rubber sealing rings in it. May actually even have some metal ones, but they don't feel like metal. Yeah, I feel some metal ones in there. So I have all your sealing rings. It's going to have your seals, front and rear seals, input, output, selector shaft seal. It's O-ring there. I don't know what that goes to yet. I figured that out. You got a large one that goes to something too. Some of this stuff I ain't got that far with yet, so I'm having to wing it. And here is your pan gasket. So that's what's in there. And Trans-Tech is a good name. They've been around forever. So that's going to be all your soft parts, what they call your soft parts, rubber stuff, sealing rings, O-rings, etc., etc., etc. So, and then you're going to have this is your front band. And this always gets replaced because that This thing is subject to wear. The rear band is not normally replaced because it hardly ever wears, but this one does. And mine wasn't damaged, wasn't worn out, but we're going to replace it anyway. Here you go. It's got a TF6 904, part number blah 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 blah. Ray Bestos. Ray Bestos is a good brand. We know that, so we're good to go there. You got your filter, and that's just your basic Dacron filter. Goes in any of them. So, now here's what we were hoping was in here, and this is it. This is your clutch packs. Well, your clutches. And if you look at these, I'm looking from the side here. If you notice there, you've got looks like 5 and 4. You got 4 of one kind of clutch and 5 of the other. You see there's a visible difference in them. So the 4 should go in the front clutch because it's got 4 clutch plates in it. And I'm assuming that the 5 is going to be in the rear clutch. I haven't taken the rear clutch apart yet, but hey, like I said, I'm learning this stuff along with you guys. So, and you got a couple bushings in here. I believe this was the pump bushing and this is the output shaft bushing. Make sure of that. Dr. Tranny. And here's the steels. So the steels all look the same. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steels. So obviously you're going to have 4 steels per clutch pack. So there you go. There's not much to this. The only thing past this is we're going to have to make sure that we don't have anything else worn out. Now I've already dug into this transmission and found out its actual major problem, which this will fix. But I'm going to have to check all the bushings and also those thrust washers, which are made out of fiber. I can tell you y'all, I'll just give you a teaser ahead of time that one of those has to be replaced because it's got wear on it. It's got about 0.002 wear on it. So I'll show you that upcoming, but that's what you got to do now is you got to go through all these. You go through your clutch packs, and we may end up going through the planetaries and all that because they've also got thrust washers in there. So anyway, I kind of dread doing that because there's a whole bunch of stuff packed in a little bit of space right there. So I bet we're gonna have to do it, I'm afraid, because like I said, I'm just giving you a little bit of information ahead of time. I'm going to cover this in videos, but there's a measurement you take to measure how much thrust clearance, I guess you could say, you have in your gear train back there, everything behind the clutch packs. And I've already taken that measurement and it checked out fine. The overall thrust measurement to the whole back to the front of the transmission checked out good. It was a little on the loose side, so probably going to be better to do that and take it all apart because you want to be safer than sorry, because the guys that do these are going to say, well, you're not doing a proper job if you don't take all that apart and check it. And they're right. So I don't want to do this over again. So anyway, and this kit does not supply any kind of thrust washer, so when you check your thrust washers and measure them, especially if you got ones cracked or broken or worn down, then you're going to have to order those from a separate source, but they are available. And the thrust washers on the port flight, they are numbered, not on them, but in the diagram, they're numbered front to rear, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So, you know, if you get confused, you just look at where it's positioned at in the assembly and in your diagram, and it's going to say, well, this is number 3 thrust washer, this is number 5 thrust washer. You know, number 1's up there, at the front nearly, right behind the, well, I don't remember where it's at right off the bat, but I remember seeing it, so I think that's the one that's worn too. Alright guys, well, I'm going to quit yakking, so I'm going to get these uploaded soon, so we're ready to get started on this. Our warm, hot weather is holding on, but we don't have long for it because it's in the 3rd week of August, and the temperature is going to slowly start tapering off, and it's going to be time for me to, I like to take this time of the year when that happens to just work as hard as I can when the temperature's not too hot and get as much done. So I want to get this knocked out and done, and I want to see what to do about this engine. Here's my idea about this car, and I'm going to tack this on to, well, no, I don't think I am going to. I'm going to actually put this on a little separate video, so we'll talk about that here coming up. See ya.